Okay, we're talking about anxiety, one of my favorite subjects ever. The thing about anxiety is a lot of people have genetic predispositions to it, whether those genes are expressed or not. As so many things are happening in the world and kind of the world anxiety levels are being elevated, it's really important to develop a toolkit for yourself so you can deal with changes, the transitional phases, the instability, everything that goes along with living in a time like 2020. So I've timestamped this video. You can scroll down below, figure out exactly what you want to watch, but I really highly recommend watching the whole video because all of this info ties together. So what I want to say first and foremost about this video and the information that I'm going to be presenting is you want to make sure that you go to your primary care practitioner if you have not already been diagnosed with anxiety or panic disorder or anything of that nature. You want to make sure that your CBC, your blood panel, looks good and that your hormone profile, your thyroid levels, all that stuff looks normal. And once you have made sure that everything looks, pretty much within normal range, then we can start to do this work. So first and foremost, you want to take a survey of what's going on in your life. And this can feel kind of overwhelming because a lot of times we just want to lie to ourselves about our current circumstances. We want to believe that things are okay outside of us, that our relationships are healthy and everything. And those things could be the sources of our stress and anxiety. Oftentimes, we can actually be in a healthy relationship or have healthy relationships, but because we were brought up surrounded by toxicity, toxic relationships, maybe that's the only example we have to pull upon when it comes to love. Sometimes we can be in a healthy relationship and get super anxious about it because it doesn't meet what we're used to when it comes to a loving relationship. So that's kind of its own thing, but we do have to be as objective as we possibly can, survey what's going on in our lives, what our relationships look like, our job, whatever could be causing this feeling of anxiety, lack of control. So we want to be honest with ourselves. And a way that we can help ourselves be honest with ourselves is finding a therapist. So that is my next tip. It is so necessary, and if you are struggling with mental health issues of any kind, to have a therapist, just someone that we can get in touch with who is objective, someone whose job it is to help you through anxious moments in your life or, mental health issues in general. So when you're looking for a therapist, you want to make sure that they're going to fit what you need. And not everyone is for everyone. You need to search around and find a therapist that works for you. This is someone, for me, who I deem as either smarter than myself or just sees things differently than I do and is also smart. Maybe you've already thought of a million possibilities and ways you could think about this, and then you go to someone and they just say, well, what do you think about that? Oh, that is I hate that. I want to actually get some good advice. You just have to jump around and find someone that works for you. I will put below some links of questions you should ask therapists before you sign on with them or before you commit. So my next tip is when you are feeling like you're ramping up to a state of panic, you're feeling really anxious, you feel like you're about to have a panic attack. So when you feel the panic rising up, you want to meet it with such acceptance. This is really, really hard to do because it's so ingrained in us that we should push away these uncomfortable feelings. When we have anxiety, we are highly sensitive to stimuli. Our nervous systems are going to react much greater than someone whose anxiety levels are low. When we feel some weird things happening, maybe we start to feel really hot, or we start to feel like our palms are sweating, or we start to be able to hear our heart beating or something, we start to freak out because this is an indicator that something's wrong. And when we feel like something's wrong, our body reacts even more intensely, starts to release all of these hormones into our bloodstreams that just increase those weird feelings. We meet this feeling of overstimulation with more anxiety. It is a feedback loop. It ramps up until we have a panic attack, and then it starts to die down. And panic attacks last about 20 to 30 minutes on average. What you need to do in these moments is fully accept the feelings. Okay, this goes against everything we are taught, and this goes against what our nervous systems are telling us. So this is a practice, the practice of welcoming and befriending the weird feelings that start to arise. This is how we are going to train our nervous systems to not be on high alert. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine you're breathing in the anxiety, you're breathing in the weird feelings, you are opening yourself to all of these weird sensations, you are allowing them in, and you are gonna go on the ride. You are letting go of control. You are letting go of feeling like this is wrong, this is bad, this is scary, and you're actually welcoming it like, well, okay, so I have these feelings, these sensations. It doesn't feel good, but instead of labeling it like that, and instead of that driving my fear of it, I'm gonna lean so far into this that I'm gonna ask myself to send me more of these weird feelings. And I'm gonna say, give me everything you got. Heighten all of these sensations in my body, in my mind, because I'm not scared and I'm ready. And it's always a practice. That doesn't mean that you can do this once or twice and you'll be good to go forever. You have to keep coming back to that mindfulness, that acceptance, that openness. And this will leak out into all areas of your life. If you have anxiety, you have fears in so many other aspects of your life. Anxiety is just kind of this overarching thing. When you have anxiety, you start to close to life. You start to avoid triggers. You start to avoid people and places and just situations generally. You start to not live as much life as you would if you didn't have anxiety. And exposure therapy is intense, but the thing to do before exposure therapy, exposing yourself to going to a party if you have social anxiety or whatever, get yourself in the state of mind that you want more of this feeling. You want it to be heightened, and just keep repeating that to yourself. Give me more of this, give me more of this. I'm not scared, I'm not scared. And let it rise and it will pass. I promise you, if you let it in, it will release its grip. Okay. Death meditation. Death meditation is a Buddhist meditation that uses various visualization and contemplation techniques to meditate on death. Underlying anxiety is the fear of death. So I was nervous to do a death meditation, okay? I was avoiding it for a long time. I had bought a death meditation, but I didn't want to do it. But let me tell you, facing your own death while you're alive is one of the most powerful practices we can do. Becoming acquainted with the idea of death, becoming okay with the idea of death. And that's not to say that I'm totally okay with it, but a death meditation will introduce you to the things that are actually important. And we lose sight of these things. It's just how humans are. We can't always be in this state of immense gratitude and presence and fearlessness. Things are gonna come up, things are gonna change, different things are gonna scare us as time goes on. What I realized in the death meditations I've done that has been just so incredibly powerful is that love is truly the only thing that matters, and that your day-to-day life, all of the shit that you care about so much, all of the anxiety, all of the things that, keep you from being present, none of that stuff really truly matters, and you're not going to remember it in the end. Okay, so I left this tip for our last tip because it's kind of like, to me, a final phase of dealing with your anxiety. You want to become really good at accepting the anxiety and panic as it comes up before you venture into this next intense tip. You can not be exactly ready for a death meditation, and it can cause more panic to arise, okay? So you have to be in the right phase of dealing with your anxiety and building your toolbox to do a death meditation. I feel like it can reveal so much about yourself. It connects you so deeply to this notion of nothingness, which I think is extremely important when you're trying to heal anxiety. It's just realizing that our existence is a blessing in a way. We didn't ask to be born, but now that we're here, we get this really weird and unique and beautiful human experience. It's filled with chaos, and it's filled with love, and it's filled with laughter and pain and everything in between. And the fact that we get to experience this brief time on earth is pretty incredible. So a death meditation just brings you closer to that place of, oh my gosh, I'm alive. So death meditation is such a powerful tool, and I think it's extremely useful for people with anxiety. I highly recommend it. I really, really feel passionate about spreading this information that I've acquired over the years of having panic disorder and anxiety, and successfully not having a panic attack ever again since I started these few techniques. Please like and subscribe for more content just like this, and I'll see you guys next time.